The next day, Jones and Di decided to try an experiment. Jones took the coal to Grumbly Gasworks as usual and left Ivor on the siding just as he had done 2 days before. Then he went down into the town, not to take Mrs. Thomas some fish, but to meet Di Station, who had come over on his bicycle. "What is this all about?" asked Di. "I left Ivor on the siding about this time the day before yesterday," explained Jones. "And ever since then he hasn't been well. So I thought we could try it again." "Listen," said Di. "The choir is singing." "My wife's brother-in-law is choirmaster," said Jones proudly. "There's distinction now," said Di. "And don't they sing lovely? Listen." They listened. And up on the siding, Ivor listened, and thought it as beautiful as the last time. More than ever he wished that he could sing with them, but he knew he never could. He was only a railway engine and couldn't speak, let alone sing. The only noise he could make was a silly little whistle. And as he thought about it, he wept. A single dirty tear welled up in his window and fell onto the sleepers. "Look, Di," whispered Jones. "Ivor is weeping." "Oh, so he is," said Di. "It must be a terrible thing that would make a railway engine weep." Jones Esteem sat on Ivor's step. "Now then, Ivor, we'll have a guessing game," he said. "1 whistle for no, 2 whistles for yes. Are you tired? Beep. Is it this place you don't like? Beep. Is it to do with the singing? Beep, beep. It is. Right, we are getting somewhere. Is it... Oh, I can't think of anything, Di." "Is it you want to sing in the choir?" asked Di. "Beep, beep, 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 beep. Oh, be quiet, Ivor Bach. You'll wake the whole town," exclaimed Jones. "Oh, Di, there's a strange thing now. Ivor wants to sing in the choir." Di looked doubtful. "I never heard of a locomotive singing in the choir," he said. "There may be regulations." "Well, I don't know," said Jones. "I think we had better go and fetch Evans the Song and ask him." So Jones Esteem went to fetch Evans the Song, who was choirmaster, and Jones's wife's brother-in-law as well. Evans the Song listened to Ivor's whistle. Beep! Evans the Song scratched his head. Oh dear, he said. "That's a minor half-tone and a bit crude, if I may say so. I don't suppose we should come across that note more than once a year, if that. I mean, it might be very useful to a Chinese choir, but not for the Grumbly District Choral Society. I'm sorry, gentlemen." He turned to go. "Mind you," he added, "if there were a good ordinary bass note, that would be different. We're a bit thin in the bass since Eli the fishmonger went to university." Well, of course, that was very disappointing. But Jones Esteem and Di Station did not give up hope. Next day they went to see Mr. Jenkins the builder, and he took them to see Mr. Morgan of Morgan's Amusements. Mr. Morgan had an old steam organ that was once on his roundabout, but he was not willing to sell it without knowing what was to happen to it. "Evans the Song says that Ivor might be able to join the choir at Grumbly if he has proper pipes to blow instead of his whistle," explained Jones the Steam. "Ah, no, that is something different," said Mr. Morgan. He went over to speak to Ivor. "Ivor," he said, "you can have the pipes of my old steam organ as a present. It was a fine organ, a famous organ, and it cost me a lot of money 70 years ago. So look after it, blow it gently, and God bless you." Mr. Morgan wiped away a tear and went back to his funfair. They took Ivor and the pipes back to Llaniog, and Mog the plumber fitted 3 of the organ pipes in place of Ivor's whistle. "Now, Ivor," said Joan's Esteem, "give us a blow, but, like Mr. Morgan said, blow very gently." "There's resonance for you," cried Mog the plumber. "Gentlemen," said Die Station solemnly, "we have succeeded. On behalf of the Merioneth and Lanticilly Rail Traction Company Limited, I thank you." From then on, everything went fairly easily. Evans the Song brought Mr. Davis, the president of the Choral Society, to hear Ivor's pipes. He was delighted. "Oh, very good indeed. Ivor will be a credit to the choir. Such good tone, too. I haven't heard a steam organ like that for years. It's nearly as good as old Mr. Morgan's roundabout." "Well, as a matter of fact," began Jones. And then a terrible thought struck him. What about head office? Here they were arranging for Ivor to join the choir, and they hadn't asked permission. He ran into the office. "Oh, Di," he shouted, "what about head office?" "Oh, that's all right, Jonesbach," said Di calmly. "I telephoned them this morning. Mr. Williams says Ivor is welcome to join the choir as long as he does his work too, and the company will pay the subscription." "Oh, Di, you're a 7 days wonder," shouted Jones, and he danced out to tell Ivor. "Well, Mr. Ivor the engine mark, how does it feel to be a member of the Choral Society?" sang Ivor. That day's work passed in no time, and soon it was evening, and Jones and Ivor were heading over the viaduct towards Grumbly and Ivor's first choir practice. Ivor suddenly felt funny in his boiler. Oh dear, quite nervous he was. They pulled through Grumbly Station and rolled down to the siding. There stood a group of people, and they were all smiling so friendlily that Ivor quite forgot to feel nervous. Evans the Song spoke to the gathering. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "it is my pleasure to introduce a new member, Ivor the Engine, bass." There you are, like I told you. He's only got 3 notes, but he sings those beautiful. Now, let us sing. Evans the Song conducted. They stood there in the quiet evening, and they sang. And Ivor sang with them, very softly at first, because they were new pipes and he wasn't used to them yet. But it was wonderful, just as wonderful as the first day he heard the choir. And Ivor sang with them just as he had dreamed, but never thought he would. Jones the Steam was there, and proud he was of his little engine. Die Station, Mr. Jenkins, Mog the plumber, and old Mr. Morgan the roundabout were all there. And standing at the back of the crowd was a tall gentleman in a top hat, Mr. Williams, the head office, come all the way from Merioneth in his Rolls-Royce, just to hear his locomotive sing in the choir.